Happy Sunday. Good morning. What is new and good? Woo! Who else out there lost an hour of sleep? This is the perfect topic for today because we're dealing with the daylight savings, or many places around the world have daylight savings, and we spring forward today. So, thank you for joining, and I appreciate you being here. Um, This is the last in the series of YouTube Lives for the Self Care Sunday series, and I'm so glad that you are joining. Thank you for being here. It has been a wonderful month, a little over a month of doing these. I just wanted to create the space for some awareness, personal self awareness, self care, self love, and give you some powerful tools to self regulate and spend that time together doing so. So, what are we talking about today? If you are joining and getting up this morning or wherever you are in the world, maybe it's afternoon or evening, I would love to know where you're coming from. Go ahead and put it in the chat and say your name if you'd like. I love to connect with people. And one of the reasons why I am going to be closing this chapter of the YouTube Lives are because I want to connect in a greater way. Look, I say it all the time. This isn't new. My superpowers are connecting and my voice. But part of connecting is loving to see and hear from those who are taking the time to be in the space with me. And when the pandemic happened, when we first got into this pandemic in 2020, one of the things that I did on a weekly basis, especially during those first 2 months of April and May, I actually did live Zooms where I would do a self-havening with those who joined, and it was really powerful and beautiful, and I had a lot of people show up because we were really looking for ways to be kind to our mind, to embrace what was happening, and just to be kind to ourselves. And I've been talking with my team about this. And while I love YouTube, and YouTube has never been my main social media source, even though I've been on it for years. And it's been kind of a holding cell for all of my work over the years, especially dating back to my years in journalism. What I'm missing here truly is that connection, being able to see, being able to interact. And I really love that. So, when I created this series, it was just kind of a tester, and I've loved it. So many of you have connected with me and have reached out to me, which I just adore when that happens. But I think taking it back to taking it back, but ahead to a place where I could truly connect with people, have them ask questions, really see what they're doing when we are doing the self-havening part. Because as a practitioner, I want to make sure that I'm being able to support those who are with me on the journey. And if they are needing a tweak in an area or have questions, I'm there readily to be able to have that connection and communication. So that is what we're proposing going forward. And this being the last of the YouTube lives. I'm not saying it's the last of all my YouTube lives, but for this series right now, I think it's best that I take it to that next level and go to where I saw a uh, real connection, right? And that's what it's all about. I mean, humans need connection. So, again, I appreciate you being here. And for the little time that we have today to close out this series, thank you for being here for this last day of the series of Self Care Sunday. And I really think this is a great topic to touch on because I had a number of things happen this week that just made this fall into place so beautifully. And the main thing that happened, I actually shared in one of my Thrive Hive, my Brain Candy newsletters yesterday. And if you're not on my Brain Candy newsletter and you want to be part of the Thrive Hive, in the description of this live, you will see how to join. It is free. It just gives you access to my podcast guests that are coming up, any discounts, any speaking engagements, and really just what I share on a weekly basis, sometimes more than once a week, on how to be kind to your mind, how to inspire yourself and empower yourself on the road to healing and wellness. So if you just go there, it's at hilaryrusso.com/thrivehive and sign up and be part of my hive. But what I talked about this week and most recently yesterday was a picture that I came across on my phone. And as you know, we get these memories that pop up every so often on our social media, on our phone. And yesterday I had a picture pop up yesterday morning that really sealed the deal with what I wanted this to be about. And it was about time. And that it's not promised to us, right? Time keeps moving. We see this happening right now. We're experiencing daylight savings. Many areas of the world are springing forward, which means right there, we're losing an hour of time. And while time is promised to move forward, right? It's not promised to us. And we really saw that during 2020 to 2022, especially with the pandemic, because we're sitting there with a lot of time on our hands and a lot of time to think about what is happening and a lot of time not receiving answers and a lot of time seeing people get sick and some not having the benefit of time, right? So, what that made me think about was how precious it is to really embrace every day as it comes. And what I call the perfect now is the being present and powerful, right? So, this picture that I received yesterday was taken on March 12th, 3 years ago today. And it was of me at the outside of the Port Authority bus terminal in New York City. I was coming back from a really great callback. I was pretty much felt almost 100% that I had booked this part for a host job, for a health host job in the work that I do. And I'm skipping back to the Port Authority, ready to get on the bus to head back to New Jersey from New York City. And I stop and I see the clock outside of the brewery. And I'm like, oh, I need to take a picture of that because I was also involved in my Holistically Healthy Challenge, which was a 30-day challenge I was doing, providing 30 days of healthy things you could do holistically for yourself to be well. And one of the days was time management, and I didn't have any image to use, and that clock just stuck out like a sore thumb. And I took that picture, and that was the last time I was in New York City for 2 years because of the pandemic. And I live literally 5 minutes from New York City. So that picture popped up, and it was a really clear reminder that it's not so much about time management. It's about how we're spending our time personally too, right? It's not always about work. And those moments really are valuable and important. So when you think about your time, when you think about how you are spending the time or what aren't you doing during these hours that are passing before you? What aren't you sharing? What aren't you embracing? Who aren't you reaching out to? That is really what matters because time is never promised. And I see, hi, Denisha, welcome. It's so good to see you. Wonderful. Love that you are here. Always devoted, Dee. I appreciate it. So, as we're talking about time, it's really embracing those moments that sometimes we forget about. Oh, I'll call them later. Oh, I'll get back to them another time. Oh, I'll get to that resume later. Oh, I'll put in for that job later. Oh, I'll get back on the dating apps at another time because I'm not feeling it right now. There's always a later, everything's later. I'll find love when I'm healed. Let me just tell you something. We're all works in progress on that part. I do want to touch on that because I had a really good conversation about this very thing yesterday. We're all works in progress. And if we're waiting for us to be perfect and healed and everything to be right, then you are putting off joy in your life. If you're waiting to put in for that job because you have to have everything perfect, then you're putting off doing something that brings you joy. If you're deciding I'll wait for it to be a perfect day outside, it's a little overcast, maybe I won't go for the walk, you're missing the opportunity to see what's out there when there's a hazy sky, when different kinds of animals are emerging because they don't come out in the full sunlight, different birds are heard. When we are putting things off tomorrow, no matter what it is, love, career, life, friendships, whatever, we're missing an opportunity to be in the perfect now. You get my drift? And I've been guilty of it. I've done it myself. And I think this is just a chance to connect with you and realize that this was a really great time to do this with daylight savings. We're moving into spring. The equinox is coming up. I'm about to, and another reason why this came up for me is that I'm about to embark on a pretty big birthday. I'll leave it at that. And time is not promised to me either. So what do I want to do in this second half of my life? What do I want to do powerfully that I can embrace and truly live in a state of joy? And look, life isn't joyful all the time, right? We have responsibilities, we have little hiccups that happen. But when we continue to put things off because something's not perfect or something's not right or I'm out of alignment, that's okay to go within and readjust some things, recalibrate. But to just put it aside and let it sit idle forever is just wasting your time. And I listened to one of Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks talks about calibration yesterday. And if you're familiar with the law of attraction, you know what I'm talking about. But the whole idea of calibrating is being able to align with that which you truly are, your inner self. And when things feel out of alignment, it's because we're not calibrated with our higher self. And I know that I've faced that a number of times in my life, every day probably, but it's about how quickly do you pull yourself back to alignment in this time, right? So think about those things. And I'm just going to read you real quick because for those who aren't on my Thrive Hive or haven't checked my social media, because I did post this on my Instagram and Facebook yesterday. But just for those who might be here for the first time, I'd love to share this with you. And it's just letting you be reminded, giving you a reminder of the things that you can do in this perfect now, right now, or maybe when you're done with this YouTube live today, that you can do to make a powerful change to really embrace the now, the perfect now, the time you're in right now. And I shared simply, if you want to take today, reach out to someone who you haven't spoken to in a while. Tell them how you feel. Tomorrow's never promised. A simple hello and I love you. I've been thinking about you. You make a difference in my life. Or even an I'm sorry for something that you feel that you are responsible for and being accountable for. Sometimes that can make a difference too. And that's embracing the now. Love on your pet if you have a pet. If you're a fur mommy or daddy out there, give your pet some love because all they know is how to love you. Give them an extra scratch behind the ear, a little rub under the belly. Take a walk or a hike, like I mentioned. Leave your tech behind. When you're done with this, step away. Grab a big jug of water and take a hike somewhere. I know I'll be outside today. Be still. Take time to meditate. Be still. And it's not about being in your thoughts. It's about being present and trusting that your higher power is hearing the questions that you have, and give yourself the space for them to be answered. When you sit in the silence, the answers come. That's when you're calibrated. That's when you're really in calibration, in alignment. Hit the gym. I know many who find that to be their therapy. And I have those moments myself when I'm with my trainers. So if you have an opportunity today and you want to release those endorphins and this dopamine and all those great happy chemicals in the brain, hit the gym, do a workout, feel better. 30 minutes is all you need to get the heart pumping and being in a healthier state. And this too, right? Book the trip. My own personal example of this is that I was putting off for the longest time booking my trip to Ireland and Amsterdam, and I finally did it 2 weeks ago, and I'm so glad I did. It's off my plate, it's done, and it's not the last trip I'm booking, but I booked the trip, so do it. If there's something you wanna do, somewhere you wanna go, book it. Stop putting it off. Tomorrow's not promised. And I would say, for crying out loud, take those risks. If you're not happy with your job, take a risk. What else would you love to do? What brings you joy? You are not your career. You are not your job. This is you. Those things fill time. They provide value. They provide income so that you can have the life that you want. Yes, and you might love your job. But if you're not happy, start looking. Take a moment, sit back in the silence with the meditation, and what resonates with you? For me, for years, I was working full time in journalism, and I was approached with a number of different tasks that I did not enjoy. And I remember after 9/11, which was again time that none of us expected, I took a step back from my career as a TV anchor and journalist because it was not bringing me joy. And over time, I realized as I was connecting more with who I am, the kind of journalism I wanted to share was health and wellness. That brings me joy, amplifying the message of health and wellness and bringing that to the table. And then life was a falling into. And in that time, I found my love and desire of being in holistic health and as a practitioner. So for me, it was a passion and a purpose that became my profession, and being able to fuse all those things together, still do my health and wellness journalism, but also have this beautiful private practice where I can support people on ways to be kind to their mind, specifically with havening, which we are going to do. So if you are not in joy with what you do, you are not married to it. You have a choice. You can choose to choose if it's not happiness that it brings you. Same with relationships. If you are not happy, make different choices. You choose to choose. If you do care for somebody and you're not able to share it with them, how you feel, tell them. Time is not promised. Stop putting things on hold. Life is not perfect. We're perfectly imperfect. And that's really the beauty of knowing more about who you are, is realizing that you're perfectly imperfect, I'm perfectly imperfect, and it just it creates such a beautiful space of growth and healing when you sit back and realize that not everything has to be fitting in this perfect little box, right? It's not how it works. Just isn't. So those are some of the things that I shared, just giving you a short list of things that you can do, you know? If you approach everything with, I will let myself do this when, I will allow myself to do this when, I will create this possibility when, I will be in the job, I will be in love, I will be in the home, I will be in the space when. If you're following everything with the word when, you're waiting for life to happen. Do it now. Take a moment and just take a deep breath and think about that. What it means to be in the perfect now. Yeah. Right? So before we get into our little havening experience, let me look through the chat. Denisha, you are blowing up my chat. I love it. Yes. Everything you're doing, you're going on vacation, you're working out, you're doing yoga, your pet is amazing. Denisha, you are owning it. Anyone else out there, send it, put in the chat, share in the chat. What are you promising to yourself that you're going to do to embrace the now, this perfect now. Like Denisha, follow her lead. She is definitely paving the way. And let me know where you're coming from. Like, where are you today? Did you have to deal with the daylight savings? Did you lose an hour too? How are you going to make up for that lost time? That was taken away from some of us just because daylight savings happens to exist in some places, not everywhere. But how are you going to go powerfully with time? So what I want you to do is we're going to get into this havening experience now. And if you aren't aware of havening, or this is your first time joining me, I am Hilary Russo. I am the Holistically Speaking Health Coach. I am a certified havening techniques practitioner, hypnotherapist, and integrative nutrition health coach. And havening is my main jam, as I like to say. It's what I talk about a lot. I'm one of only 800 certified havening practitioners in the world, one of the first 150 in the United States, and one of the first 500 in the world. I've been doing this for a while. I practiced with the founding doctors. And I truly believe in this modality. And if it's the first time you've ever heard about it, let me tell you what it is. And if it's not the first time, enjoy that I'm sharing this. Okay. So havening is a psychosensory approach, meaning that it uses one of the senses, predominantly touch. And there's 3 different kinds of havening touches. It's like you're washing your hands, or you're giving yourself a gentle stroking hug from your shoulders down to your elbows, or on your face. Those are the 3 main havening touches. And what happens when you are doing the havening touch, let me just back my computer up a little bit. When you are doing the havening touch, you are actually pairing it with a positive thought or a pleasant distraction. So in this situation, and where we're talking about time in the perfect now today, maybe it's looking at something that you enjoy doing, a positive outcome, something that you want to create in your life, whatever it is, a positive thought or a pleasant distraction that brings you joy. I want you to think about something like that. And so when you're bringing that positive thought or that pleasant distraction to mind, and you are doing the havening touch while your eyes are shut, and you're thinking of that person, place, thing, experience, maybe even humming a song if that brings you joy. When you do the touch along with that pleasant, positive distraction, what you're doing is you're changing the landscape of the brain. You are releasing the oxytocin, the love hormone, the serotonin, the dopamine, the GABA. All those hormones in the brain are being released, and you put your brain in what they call a delta wave state. Delta wave is the sleep state. That's the subconscious mind. And when you're in the sleep state, you're able to make decisions better because you can't find the calm in the chaos, can you? So it allows you to really make better decisions, be more focused, get better sleep. If you're dealing with chronic pain, it can relax the pain. It can help you deal with that. Anxiety, stress, post traumatic stress. There's really no area it doesn't cover. And when you're working one on one with a practitioner like myself, we can go and do the deeper work, which is the deep rooted trauma. And that is really a beautiful place that I love to go, because seeing the shift with my clients, going from their traumas to the triumphs, is really a wonderful way to support them on their healing journey. So you have the ability to put the power of active emotional well-being in your own hands by doing it yourself with the everyday upsets to self-regulate, right? To self-regulate, to self-soothe, and find a calming approach that works for you. It's one of many, but the beauty of this is it's neuroscience based, and it has the ability to change the landscape of the brain, basically alter your thoughts, moods, behaviors, and habits rapidly and even permanently. So that is a little bit about havening. And we're just going to do a little self-havening today, where you are going to self-apply the touch to yourself, because we're not dealing with anything too major. But if there's something in your mind, something that is causing you a little upset, and you want to see a change in your life, whether it is a job, a relationship, your own health, something around you that is just a little off kilter, I want you to imagine the better outcome of it, right? Bring that to mind. Like, what would that look like to see that happen in your life? If there's a trip you want to take, maybe imagine or bring to mind what that trip will look like, right? Whatever you can do to find the joy, that's where I want you to go today. Okay. And I'm just going to guide you through this really beautifully. Okay. So, what I want you to do is just bring that image to mind of what would bring you joy, And before we go there, what I'd like you to do is if there is something that is upsetting you, if there's maybe you're upset about the job you have, or you're not able to take the trip, or you're not in the relationship, or your health isn't the best, I want you to bring to mind a number from 0 to 10. 0 being it's not bothering you at all, or as I call namaste all day, has no impact on you whatsoever. To 10 being this is impacting you greatly. This is much more triggering than you thought. Where are you on that scale right now when you think about that upset? Bring that to mind and give it a number. And if you'd like, share it in the chat. You don't have to, but of course, there's always power in community. And bring that number to mind and just put it in the chat. What it is, the number that you are feeling right now with the fact that you're not able to do what you're wanting to do, and time feels like it's not on your side. And bring that number to mind, and then give it a feeling. What does it feel to know that you haven't done this? Your health is not the greatest, or you're not in the relationship you want to be in, or you're not in the job you want to be in. What's the word? Is it frustrating? Is it upsetting? Is it angry? Whatever it is, think of that word and that number that's associated with the word, and just be there for a moment and just feel what it's like to be in that place. Yeah, I got mine. Okay. Now what I want you to do is just let it go. Just let it go. And now I want you to think about that thing that brings you joy. What is that experience that you can see on the alternative, the other side of what you just had? So if it's not a good job, what would be the ideal job? I want you to bring that to mind. If your health is not the best, imagine yourself in high performance doing exactly what you want to do and seeing a body that's healthy and working for you, a beautiful machine. Or if it's not you're not where you want to be and you'd rather be in the Maldives right now, or, Turks Caicos, or somewhere on a beach, or in the mountains, or whatever is a trip that would bring you joy, bring that to mind. Find the thing that brings you joy. Bring it to mind. Something in time that you would love to manifest, because you can't manifest something if you're not calibrating and you're not in alignment with it. So what is it? Bring it to mind, that joyful thing that you would love to make happen, and just be there for a second. And then what I want you to do is I want you to start self-havening. Remember, it's on your arms from your shoulders down to your elbows, or on your face, or even your hands. And you can do any or all three of these. There's no choreography to it. And I'm just going to count from 1 to 20. While you're in this place, while you're having this experience of that joyful experience that you want to happen, instead of treating it like a wanting, treat it like a knowing, because there's less resistance in the knowing. It's treating it like it's already there. So know that this is part of your path. Know that this job, this better health, this relationship you desire, this job, the vacation, whatever it is a knowing. That's a much more powerful feeling. And close your eyes and just start to haven. And as I count from 1 to 20, with each number, I want you to think about one thing with each number and each step that you're witnessing in that place. So if it's a vacation, maybe number 1 is seeing you taking the flight. Number 2 is arriving and staying in an amazing hotel. Number 3 is laying out on the beach, or whatever it is. Just imagine 20 different things as I count that bring you joy in that space. That is a knowing of the time in this perfect now. Here we go. Remember to start havening and continue havening. 1, eyes shut. Take a deep breath. That first powerful step is always the best. 2, 3, 4, don't forget to breathe. 5, 6, take a deep breath and hold it for 3 seconds. and then release. 7, 8. Remember to keep havening. 9, 10. Take another deep breath. Breathe it in on a 4 count. Hold it for 3. And then release. 11. Bring that image to mind. 12. 13. 14. What does your perfect now look like? 15. Take another deep breath. On this breath, I want you to just, in your mind's eye, just as you're taking this walk, turn around and see everything around you that you're witnessing in this place, this experience that you're having that's bringing you joy, the knowing that this exists in this time and place. Eyes shut. Continue to haven. 16, 17, 18, 19, and the most powerful step, just like the first, stepping into 20, stepping into the perfect now. What is it you want to bring into your life? What is it you know exists in your life as possible? Take that 20th step. What is it you see? Deep breath. And for a moment, before you do anything else, before you even open your eyes, continue to self-haven. What I want you to do is just activate your senses. So in this place where you are, this perfect now that you know exists for you, I want you to activate every sense. What is it you see there? Take a moment to understand that. Take a moment to embrace. What do you see in this perfect now? What do you feel? What is it around you? Maybe it's something on your skin, something you touched, something you picked up. What is it you feel? What is it that is right in that space, in that perfect now that you've created, that you know is there and possible, that you've been able to feel and touch and use that sense? What is it you smell? What are the smells around you? Activate the senses of smell, right? What is it you taste? Is there something that you're able to taste? A delicious meal, a lovely, and the scent and the taste go together. So maybe have a delicious meal that you're eating wherever it is in this perfect now, or you're embracing something this now, and you're just really loving in this moment. And then what is it you see? What is it you see that's possible? Be present with that for a moment. That's right. And then turn around and see how far you've come, what you've created for yourself, what you've manifested, what you know exists, whatever it is that you want the perfect now to include. Do that thing. Calibrate, align. When you have hesitation, when there's resistance, you're out of alignment with who you really are. Come back to that source. You can open your eyes. And if you're feeling different, if you're feeling that the number's lower, which is better, go ahead and share that. You can share that in the chat. You can share your before and after if you want. The feeling that you're having now, what are you feeling? What's the emotion that you have in this moment right now? That's the power of this work. And I invite you, if you want to learn more about this, I've shared a little bit about what havening is. I invite you to consider the possibility of sharing this one-on-one with me. There is more information in the description to let you know how you can connect with me further. And if you want to try a one-on-one havening session, I do those complimentary to see if it aligns with you. To actually work with me one-on-one is a really powerful step in the direction of your healing. So that is where our time has come to a close. I want you to go forward powerfully. I appreciate all of you who have been here on this journey for the last month of this series. And there's some really beautiful things that are going to be happening going forward. especially as we move into the spring, as we spring forward. And I'll be elated to share that with you and to be connected with me so that you don't miss a beat. Definitely consider signing up for my Brain Candy newsletter, be part of my Thrive Hive to learn more about my podcasts that I release every week, to learn about any speaking engagements, any workshops that I have, and of course, any opportunities I have with you to connect on a greater scale, which will be very soon in the future. And I'm not wasting any time bringing that to you. So all I can say is be well and be kind to your mind and do one thing today that you might have been putting off to make a difference in your life, to live the perfect now. I love you. Be well and namaste.